Hello dear students, good evening. Russia's NATO problem on the Ukraine war. Just a day ago, we had gone through the article in which Russia-Ukraine situation in the context of US, NATO and other European countries was discussed. The situation was such that it gave an indication that somewhere, somehow, it is possible that Russia will put efforts of incursion into Ukraine, and that is what it turned out to be. So yesterday we saw such attacks and all the news coming forth. So today we are going to discuss the same editorial, keeping in view that vocabs and current updates will also be provided to us, but this time it's English to English. So dear students, if you are all ready, write in the comments ready. So let's continue. Today we will not use any mind map. Without mind map, we will discuss the whole scenario. And yes, as Thomas Jefferson says or said, I find that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. So directly or indirectly, your work efforts are specifically related with your luck. So the more you work hard, the more the chances are that you will have a good luck or a better luck or the best luck. So yes, students are all ready. And I could see yesterday was a round of cricket, and that's why I think there were many students who were not there live. Some days bunking the class, whether online or offline, is justifiable, but not all days. So today I hope you all join again, share the video, like the video, so that we can continue the session. Yes, we will go through some pictures which will give us an idea of the situation. So President of Russia and Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. So you can see the situation, how army situation is there and how the activity is going on, how the battle situations are being into preparation mode, and how army personnel are doing some stuff which relates how you will do bombarding and all those things. And this is the situation post attack. Many lives must have been lost. Exact figure is not available, but as of now, as per the latest update, I can say from the article I read, almost 137 people have lost their lives in Ukraine, including 10 military personnel, and more than 300 people have been injured. So that is how the toll will go on and increase definitely. So let's have a look at the editorial. Russia's NATO problem on the Ukraine war. See, somewhere Ukraine was also putting efforts to be included in NATO, which was not acceptable to Russia, and that is how the whole situation began taking place. Putin, that is the president of Russia, seems unwilling to engage diplomatically to address Russian security concerns. So whatever concerns Russia has It seems that Vladimir Putin is not interested in discussing the matter over the table, that is face-to-face discussion without any army being involved. But it seems that Putin is not interested in that kind of approach. So Putin has chosen the other way, that is attack, incursion. When you say incursion means invasion, sudden attack. Russia's unjustifiable, not fair incursion into Ukraine following weeks of military troops build-up. So for weeks, Russia was in the process of building the troops and army on the border area so as to be able to maybe attack afterwards, which is so the case right now. On their shared border has drastically raised tensions in the region with broader ripple effect. Dear students, when we say ripple effect, if you see the still water, a very serene water, and if you throw a stone into it, there are waves created. So that waves being created is called ripple effect. In this editorial's context, we can say one event giving rise to another event, and that another event giving rise to one more event, so on goes on the things. That is called ripple effect. Okay, so I can say domino effect also there. So Russia's unjustifiable, not fair invasion or sudden attack into Ukraine following weeks of military troops build-up on their shared border, that is between Russia and Ukraine, has drastically raised tensions in the region with broader ripple effect. Ripple effect means it is not just limited to Russia and Ukraine, it has impacts and effects over and above the situation to other regions across the world. It has created an impact, particularly for NATO countries and others with strategic connections. It has created impact among two factors, or more than two factors I should say. When I am using among, it's more than two factors. One includes NATO countries and the other includes all those countries which are having strategic connections, maybe political or geopolitical or economical, to the two nations, that is Russia and Ukraine. So all those countries which are having connections with these two countries are also feeling the impact of this situation. Reports also said that several cities of Ukraine, which includes capital Kyiv. See dear students, here Kyiv will be pronounced Kyiv, Kriv kind of pronunciation will be there. That is the capital of Ukraine, came under attack on Thursday, that is yesterday morning. Even as the UN Security Council, that is UNSC, held an emergency meeting to stop the invasion. Dear students, invasion means again incursion. So following this attack by Russia on Ukraine, even UNSC also held emergency meeting to discuss this situation, discuss this invasion, discuss this incursion, to discuss this sudden attack. Let us go further. US President Joe Biden and the NATO and the other European Commission leadership vowed, means pledged, take oath, to have promise to impose severe sanctions, I can say restrictions. Okay, so US President and NATO and other European Commission leadership also vowed, means took pledge, promise to themselves that they will have enforcement of severe, very strict sanctions on Russia. This round of sanctions will overlay, means be more important than. See, when you have implemented plan A and then you implement the plan B, which is even more effective than plan A, then we can say plan B overlays plan A. That is how these sanctions will overlay prior economic penalties if they were imposed on Russian entities. Entities means companies and individuals close to the political leadership, and they are expected to include cutting off top Russian banks and it is also expected that top companies and individuals who are having specific connection with the leadership close to the top leadership and who are anywhere directly or indirectly involved or maybe involved in this situation will also be coming under this restriction zone, that is sanctions. At the same time, they are also expected, Russian leadership and all the people related are also expected to include cutting off, cancelling top Russian banks from the financial systems. So any transactions involving finance through banks, if these banks related to Russia or originating from Russia are in that situation, then they will be withdrawn. They will not be given any specific authorized access. That is how other European countries, that is Western countries, have decided to take action against Vladimir Putin, or I can say Russia. See, if I want to refer to India, I would say Delhi. If I want to refer to China, I would refer to the capital Beijing. Similarly, if I want to refer to Russia, I would say capital of the Russia, that is Moscow. From the financial system, halting means stopping, putting an end. Technology exports, if any technology is being exported to Russia, it will also be stopped. And directly targeting the Russian president and specifically putting Russian President Vladimir Putin under the target, so as to specifically criticize him and make him realize that whatever actions are being taken by the country are not in the interest of the humanity. And that is how I hope actions are being taken. As per the editorial discussion, I am giving you an insight. And directly targeting the Russian president, Moscow, that is Russia, can hardly be surprised. It will not be surprised at all at this backlash. When you say backlash, means a kind of adverse reaction. Because when the editorial says for, it will mean because. So because it has shown little. Dear students, you know little means almost zero, almost nil. Had it been a little, it would have been used in the positive sense. Dear students, today it is English to English session. There are more than 60 students live. I expect all of you to like the video. So make the videos like in such a way that it reaches more than 50. Dear students, let's go, and boom. For it has shown little sympathy toward the idea of engaging diplomatically on the Ukraine question to address Russian security concerns. And at this point of time, Moscow, that is Russia, can hardly be surprised at this revenge. Means, if Russia has taken this action, it is obvious for other nations to take adverse reaction towards Russia. It's not so surprising. So Russia should be prepared for the negative reaction coming from all the nations across the world who are involved directly or indirectly in this situation. Maybe through NATO or maybe through other strategic relations. Dear students, if you are able to understand till this point, then write in the comments next so that I can continue the next session. Yes, backlash means reverberation, repercussion, reprisal. When you say vowed means plight, no, it's not plight. Asseverate, I don't know about that. Economic penalties, yes, sanctions means economic penalty. Invasion, conquering, assailing, foray into something, yes, prince. Today it is a session which is going completely English to English. So if you expect Hindi, today it will not take so. It will not take place in that manner. So if you want to learn English to Hindi, then come Monday to Thursday, and today it is English to English. So try to understand this session. If you are not able to understand, try to watch the video twice. Definitely you will understand this. Ever since Russia began amassing means accumulate, or I can say gather troops on the Ukrainian border. The day when Russia started gathering its troops on the Ukrainian border, the US, NATO and Europe have sought to try to press for diplomatic solutions. So sensing the severity of the situation, US, NATO and other European countries tried to have a diplomatic solution so that this war situation does not come, but their efforts did not come true. So now this includes direct US-Russia negotiations, in which US also tried to have a negotiations with Russia, which did not turn fruitful. and French President Macron's meeting with Mr. Putin. All these efforts went in vain because they did not give any result. Finally, Russia is into war situation, and many people are speculating whether it is going to be the third world war or what. So that is something time will tell over a period of time. Let's go further, dear students. While the sense of frustration in Western capitals means all the countries who are from West, right from US and other European countries as well. Excuse me. So while the sense of frustration in Western capitals over Mr. Putin's intractability means stubbornness, means not having any willingness to change your stance, that is rigidity, I can say. So while the sense of frustration in the Western capitals over Mr. Putin's intractability and aggression, very ferocious or voracious activity are palpable means noticeable, visible. While all these things are there, and the use of severe sanctions means penalties, stemming from means rising from, originating from, that is a strategic inevitability. When you say inevitability, means something which is likely to happen, unavoidable, something certain. So if these sanctions come, it is certain to have such sanctions. You cannot stop it because you have taken the first step in the wrong direction. So now repercussions, reactions and consequences will definitely follow. It is unlikely. When you say unlikely, it is not possible that the prospect means possibility, chances of escalating means increasing violence, and a devastating means very destructive, very disastrous toll means a kind of damage or loss on human life and property in Ukraine can be ruled out. You cannot reject it. You cannot ignore it. When you say rule out, means reject or ignore or disregard. So right now the situation has become worsened in such a way that now if you expect the situation to be ruled out, it is not going to be so until Mr. Putin's broader questions on NATO are answered, because Russia is somewhere feeling insecure because of Ukraine's involvement or inclusion in NATO, and that is why there are certain questions Mr. Putin needs an answer to. If those questions are not answered to, definitely this situation is going to become worse rather than improve. Dear students, if you are able to understand the situation, also the vocabs, then write in the comments, go ahead, so that I can continue the next session. At the heart means something very important, or at the center of his fears, Vladimir Putin's fears, is the prospect means chances or possibility of Ukraine joining NATO and NATO troops potentially stationed at the means deployed at the border with Russia. So now Russia feels insecure because of NATO including Ukraine in it. And then they are also taking their position at the border with Russia. So now of course Russia has certain questions to ask. If those questions are not answered to, maybe because of that Russia is doing what it is doing. NATO's historical record of its penchant, dear students, it is pronounced penchant. It is not penchant, it is penchant, means inclination or tendency. For expansionism means expansion wishes. If you want to expand your zone, that is what NATO has a record of. Then has likely fueled means caused or increased such insecurities in Russia, and maybe because of those insecurities Russia is doing what it is doing. After the dissolution means completion end of the former Soviet Union, dear students, this NATO was created to secure certain regions from Russia. And when you say Russia, means the time when Soviet Union was created. This was the time when NATO was created to provide protection to the members of the NATO against this Russia, or from this Russia, Soviet Union, right? So after the resolution, that is dissolution, end of this Soviet Union, the Eastern European Military Alliance, means union group, that is NATO and alliance, and Russia in 1997 signed the Founding Act on Mutual Relations, means a kind of act which involved cooperation, mutual relation, cooperation and security. So this was the Founding Act which was founded between Eastern European Military Alliance, NATO and Russia after the dissolution of Soviet Union. Soviet Union was the reason NATO was created, and now because the Soviet Union was dissolved, it is possible that there was some founding act on relations, security, cooperation, and all these things was formed. Disregarding means ignoring the spirit of this agreement, means the reason why this agreement was founded. If you ignore that, ignoring or disregarding the spirit, the specific intent, then NATO quietly underwent 5 rounds of enlargement. So disregarding this specific act, which also included Russia, NATO did something nasty. NATO underwent, means gone through 5 rounds of enlargement in which NATO tried to expand its limits during the 90s, pulling former Soviet Union countries into its orbit. Means it tried to cover certain Soviet Union countries into its territory, thereby increasing its dominance. And that is why maybe the reason that Russia is not satisfied with NATO, and that is why when NATO wants to again include Ukraine in its zone, in its orbit, in its range of coverage, then of course Russia will retaliate. I think that is how the situation is forming. So now cooperative exchanges, means a kind of talks and other deals happening, which we can say or deals which are happening, which we can say are in the form of cooperation, mutual growth, communications hotline, means all the types of communication lines, whether offline or online, they also needed to be, they also were there, required to be implemented or improved. And Cold War fail safes. Dear students, fail safes means after the breakdown, if you put the system in order again, then it is called fail safe. Dear students, write in the comments fail safe. If the system breaks down and if you recover the system in its full mode, then it is called fail safe. Such as arms control verification have fallen by the wayside, means these are some positives which have fallen now, right? And even more since Russia's annexation means again invasion of Crimea in 2014. Dear students, in Russia also tried the same thing in 2014 in this area called Crimea. So that is also something which says that Russia has also a history. Russia has also a history of having such incursions when it is not satisfied with the situation. Now we cannot put any specific label or tag on any country. We are here just to discuss the situation so that we learn certain vocabs and also certain grammar forms and synonyms and all those things. That is our specific purpose. So do not go into tagging and labeling certain country as bad or good. Let's go further. It may be the case, it may be the situation that owing to, that is because of Mr. Putin's failure to develop Russia into an economic powerhouse, it may be possible that because Russia's president could not succeed in making Russia a powerhouse of economy, that is economic powerhouse that naturally attracted neighboring countries and international capital to itself, partly explains Moscow's deflection. Deflection means deviation from the set course, the path that you have decided. If you get yourself out of that path and go somewhere else, start wandering, then it is called deflection of attention to strategic questions relating to NATO and Russia's territorial, means land related integrity, means kind of honesty. Let me read it again, dear students, for you. It may be the case, it may be possible that because of Mr. Putin's failure to develop Russia, which naturally could attract many neighboring countries, it explains, the failure explains Moscow's deflection, means deviation of attention to strategic questions relating to NATO. So because economically Russia could not succeed, annexation means a kind of incursion, taking over or sudden attack and taking charge of the specific place. So maybe because of the failure of Russia economically, it focused its attention towards this regional matter, or I can say territorial matter, or I can say strategic questions, that is place or border issues. But unless, dear students, when you use this word unless, you should read if not. If not is equal to unless. So if Western nations do not give assurance to Mr. Putin that NATO will not seek to relentlessly, continuously means relentlessly expand its footprint eastwards, means if other countries do not give assurance to Russia that NATO will not go into much expansion, then only Moscow will. If that does not happen, if this kind of assurance, unless means if not, if this kind of assurance that NATO will not go into much of this expansion process, then Russia will have little, means almost zero incentive, encouragement to return to the negotiating table. Means right now NATO countries will have to, or other countries on behalf of NATO will have to give assurance to Russia that NATO will not go much into expansion. If they do not do so, then Russia will not be able to return to the negotiating table, that is without any war situation, discuss the situation diplomatically. That will not happen. But Russia and Mr. Putin must realize that this war is not the means to peace and security. Russia and its president both have to realize the fact that war is not a solution to the peace and security, or not a means. So you have to do it the other way around. Hope this was all clear to you. Dear students, 2 likes are still short of in reaching and in making the like count to 50. So I hope you will like the video and make it reach up to 50 or more than that. So Russia-Ukraine war, there is a specific video coming soon. It has already been uploaded on this channel. So right after this session is over, dear students, I encourage all of you to go through this video, in which what is the situation of Russia and Ukraine and what impact it will have on India. That is what has been discussed in this video. Definitely go through this and give your comments on that specific video. Let's go further. Let us go into vocabs. Incursion means invasion or trespass or sudden attack or assault or onslaught. Same relates with this: invasion, occupation, conquering, taking charge of something, seizure, annexation. In Hindi we call it kabza kar lena. Let's go further. Ripple effect, one situation giving rise to other situation, giving rise to another situation, to another. So an event that causes several other events to happen indirectly one after the other, secondary or indirect effect. Consequence or implication, chain of events. Vow means to swear, means to pledge, means to take promise, means to undertake. Take promise that I'll do this or that. Sanctions means action taken or an order given to force a country to obey, means to follow international laws by limiting or stopping trade with that country. If you do not follow what we say, then your trade regime with certain countries will be stopped, will be halted. That is called sanction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 vocabs discussed so far. Overlay means become more important than. Halting means slow and hesitant, especially through lack of confidence. Or stumble means to get stuck somewhere. Awkward, limping or hobbling, faltering. Backlash means revenge, a strong negative reaction, adverse response or counter action, that is called revenge kind of thing. Amass means to gather, to accumulate or to collect. Intractability means when you are not able or not ready to change your stance. So that is stubbornness, pig-headedness or headstrongness. That is out of control, uncontrollability or unmanageability. Palpable means easily noticeable, easily visible, recognizable, conspicuous. discernible or tangible. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Stem from, originate from, rise from or emanate from. That is get created from something. Okay, stem from. Inevitability means something which is soon to happen and which is sure to happen, which will not change at all. That is certain to happen, or certainty, necessity, conclusion, that is foregone conclusion, predictable result, something which will definitely happen. Prospect means chance, possibility, odds, probability or likelihood of happening something, of something happening, that is. Escalate means increase or intensify or heighten. Something increases rapidly, it is called escalation. So if war situation between two countries increases, then it is also called the same word, that is escalate or increase rapidly. Or I can also say soar. Devastating means very disastrous or destructive or ruinous, something which ruins everything. Toll means loss, damage, disadvantage, suffering, adverse impact, or something which is called detriment or consequence. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Rule out. If you think that some country is responsible for this war situation and someone says that that is not the case, then you rule out that assumption. So you reject or disregard or exclude that assumption. It is called penchant. It is not penchant. It is called penchant. Means inclination, disposition, leaning or tendency, your mindset. Fuel means to give rise to something, encourage something, intensify something, fortify or boost or stimulate something. Annexation means occupation, conquering, capture, seizure. Again it is called invasion. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Total 21 vocabs have so far been discussed. If you count it 2 vocabs further, then it is about 63 vocabs. You don't have to remember these vocabs. It's all about revising on a regular basis, and that is how you learn and you remember vocabs. You don't have to specifically try to remember or mug up the vocabs, right? So 21 specifically and other 2 synonyms, so totaling to 63. So it's not 21 into 2, 63, okay? Rule out means yes, veto, somewhere to say no, somewhere to reject. Devastating means yes, a situation of havoc. Crimea, a peninsula. Dear students, peninsula means the area of land or area, other area, region which is surrounded by water. Most of the portion of the same land is surrounded by water, then it is called peninsula. So this is for you to understand, so I am giving it in the form of PDF. Relentlessly means tirelessly, persistently or continuously, determinedly, continually or continuously in an intense way. So 21, 22. So it's not just 20, 21 in 22 into 1 plus 22 into 2. So that is 66 vocabs we are having. Yes, CNA important questions with complete detail will also be discussed right from 1st March 6:30 PM by Sandeep sir. So definitely gear yourself up for this exciting session coming soon. Today it is 25th of Feb, so in 3 or 4 days it will start. Yes, tomorrow dear students we are meeting live at 7:30 PM in the evening, in which session we will discuss level 2 jumbles and certain selected closed tests will also be discussed. So now let's have the tone of the passage. Dear students, write in the comment what will be the tone of the passage. Area which covers by water from 3 sides. Yes, it can also be say Mediterranean Sea. Yes or no? Is it Mediterranean or not? And give me the tone of the passage. What should be the tone of the passage? I would go with the descriptive tone. The whole situation is being described. At the same time, there is some analysis also being provided. But still, it can also be very critical of the situation. So I am just giving you hints, kind of blip. So yes, write in the comments what should be the tone of the passage. Descriptive, informative, descriptive. Yes, situation is in the form of narrating something, how it has happened, and still it's in the making. So right now there cannot be drawn any conclusion. Yeah, if we want to go on the a higher sensitive side, then we can also say this is a kind of critical passage or critical tone of the passage. So yes, it is descriptive as well as critical. So that's it for the day. Hope you enjoyed this session of English to English discussion, in which even vocabs are also discussed in English, as well as explanation of the paragraphs are also provided in English. Hope you enjoyed the session. Tomorrow 7:30 p.m. live we are meeting with level 2 book solution of certain jumbles and certain closed tests. Till then, this is Abhay Shah signing off. Thank you, bye bye and good night.